All right, Step, we are in 196A, which we all know is the Katy district. That's never going to change. I'll talk to you about realignment later in the year, and you won't even pay any attention to that part of the district because it's always going to be Katy. Katy everything, and it used to start off with just the Katy Tigers. They're still winning district titles, but last year Jordan kind of jumped up on them a little bit, finished second. But they both went a couple rounds deep in the playoffs. I think they both finished 11-2 or 10-2 or something like that. Talk to me about how you see things this year, because there has been some graduation of some superstar players on a lot of these Katy ISD teams.
Yeah, I still think Katy is the cream of the crop of the district. Breaking news there, Gary Joseph's ball club, 8 starters back on defense. They should be strong on that side of the ball. So Katy's going to run the ball. They've got a good offensive line, Lamar Brown, Isaac Coffrin, leading the way. I think Katy's got a chance to be really, really good if they can figure out the quarterback situation. They're going to be young at quarterback. They got to break in a new guy there. And when Katy's elite, they get good quarterback play. Not just a bus driver, but when they're elite, they've got a guy who can make plays at quarterback.
Get that play action going. Yeah,
that's the key for Katy going into 2025. I think defensively they're going to be as good as they've been in several years, and they've got a experienced running backs and experienced offensive line. It's just going to be the quarterback and maybe finding a couple of receivers that they can rely on when they need to hit that play action game. But I think
when that play action is kicking
lethal.
right, it can be you and me out there being the receiver, and we're just gonna be standing there wide open.
It's lethal. I love linebacker Jeremiah Smith, 2-time first team all district pick. Isaiah McMillan, outstanding cover guy, one of the best in the state. Cooper Knott, also back there in the secondary. So this Katy team, they got some pieces. Now they got to find a couple of linebackers. But I feel confident Katy's going to have guys who can play linebacker. It's really quarterback and receiver, maybe finding a couple of guys to fill in on the offensive line. This is a Katy team that's dangerous, and I think it's going to be they have a chance. Division I and 6A, Region 3, always tough. They're probably going to go Division I again, barring some craziness there, which I haven't looked at the enrollments real closely here on May 20th. But I feel like this is a Katy ball club that's going to be dangerous no matter what bracket they go into.
That's always the big thing. We roll the dice on whether they're going 1 or 2. Yeah. Start looking at that around week 8 or 9 or something. Figure out where they're going.
And they went Division I last year, and I think they're probably slotted to go Division I again this year based on the teams that I have getting into the playoffs. Coach Mike Robbie's done a great job building this Katy Jordan program up. They made a 3-round run last year before falling to Summer Creek. There at NRG Stadium on Thanksgiving weekend. Obviously, you got to replace Andrew Marsh, who's now at Michigan. But this is a team that's got a lot of pieces back. Tanner West, the running back, one of the most dynamic players in the area. 700 yards rushing, over 500 yards receiving. He's going to be the focal point of the offense. Their quarterback Bo Bryant's back as well. I think he could be poised for a big senior season. Wide receiver Landon Williams is probably going to be the guy who kind of takes over as the number 1 receiver with Marsh's departure. And then defensively, Jimmy Frisco,
player, right here.
Yeah, Jimmy Frisco, Alu Suliafu is back. Zach Taylor in the secondary, Austin Baird. This is a Katy Jordan team that's got a lot of pieces back. That I think you earmark them as a clear number 2 in the district. I don't think they're quite ready to overthrow Katy, kind of like Tompkins did when Jalen Milrow was leading the way that one year. Yep. Which ironically, Katy won state that year. Tompkins beat them, but Katy won the state championship because they went Division II and got into that bracket. So I think Katy Jordan is your number 2 pick. I think where things get really interesting in 19-6A is after that. I think you've got kind of 4 teams, maybe even 5 that are going to be fighting for those last 2 playoff spots. Tompkins has been the kind of the team of record, 6-5 last year, been a very good team. They got 13 starters back. Ethan Meadows had a big sophomore season, over 1,300 yards, 22 touchdowns. They got help coming from a JV squad that was 7-3. So, Tompkins is going to fill in some holes with some talented players with those 13 starters coming back. Their offensive line should be strong. Phoenix Smith didn't allow a sack as a sophomore starter as well. So you see this, Tompkins played a lot of young guys last year. They were able to get into the playoffs. I think they're going to be fighting with Jordan for that number 2 spot, but I think both teams are going to be in the playoffs. So my sleeper dark horse team this year.
Let me hear it.
Keep an eye on Maid Creek this year. Mike Arongolo last year got hired. Coach Arongolo got hired in basically late May. and took over a team that had been struggling. They went 5-5 last year, nearly made the playoffs. They got 15 starters back. Kosi Akpala, the defensive end, is an absolute stud. Every big-time program in the country is going after him. They've got a wide receiver, Chad Nelson, a young guy who's got big-time speed, big-time offers as well. This Made Creek team, I think, is ready to make a move in 2025. I think they're the fourth-place team. I think they're going to hold off Pato. Coach David Hicks did a great job at Pato last year, getting them back into the playoffs after a couple of rough seasons. They graduated a big senior class, and also, Seven Lakes graduated a huge senior class. So those two teams are going to have trouble fighting for the playoffs. Cinco Ranch is interesting. On paper, they've only got 3 starters back on both sides of the ball, but Davis Root, their quarterback, this is a guy who, as a sophomore, stepped in for injury 2 years ago, threw for over 1,700 yards, had a great sophomore year, went back to the bench last year, was the backup last year, and now is ready to take back over as a senior. So he's not listed as a returning starter. This is a guy who started a bunch of games 2 years ago for Cinco Ranch as a sophomore. They're always very senior heavy. They graduated 53 seniors. They got a running back, Marcus Gadlin, had a nice season. And they've got a wide receiver, Jacob Chavez, who had 4 touchdowns receiving as a freshman last year. So he's going to be a guy to keep an eye on. So I think Cinco Ranch is kind of another dark horse. I think they're going to be in the mix, but I think Cinco, Pato, and Made Creek are going to be really fighting it out for that last playoff spot.
So Made Creek's the one I got to keep my eye on. I remember 2 years ago was Katy Taylor kind of snuck in there, got wins when they had to. Last year was Pato. You're saying Made Creek maybe the ones, because there's always somebody that sneaks up on you.
They're always you can usually count on 3 teams in the playoffs in Katy ISD. It's that 4th one that's always the mystery box. I think it's Made Creek this year. I like what Coach Arambolo's got going on there.
How much are we going to be struggling over at Taylor and Morton Ranch? Is that are those guys going to just be kind of rebuilding here?
Yeah, Taylor, I think Morton Ranch, they were 0-10 last year, Nick Cavallo's first year. They got 8 starters back on both sides of the ball, so there's some hope for improvement. I actually saw them at the 7-on-7 last week. Definitely some improvement. I expect them to be much more competitive and possibly get a couple of wins. Tyler Williams, their 6'4" wide receivers, and Tyler Gilmore, the running back. Those are 2 guys to keep an eye on for the Mavericks. I think Coach Cavallo, year 2, I expect a step forward there from Morton Ranch. Taylor, Chris Babin is in his first year. He comes over from Katy Jordan, where he was an assistant coach. So he's kind of in that first year. I think they could struggle. Xavier Haynes is a really good running back. I like him. And Javian Garrett also. So they're going to kind of have a run-oriented, kind of a shotgun, kind of pistol option type attack for Taylor. But I think it may take them a year to kind of get going on things.
Well, what do you got here, 1 through 9?
Let's go Katy 1. Let's go Jordan 2, Tompkins 3, Made Creek 4, Cinco 5, Pato 6, Seven Lakes 7, Morton Ranch 8, Taylor at 9.